So we've just watched Lilo, and wow is the only word I can use to describe. Just for the benefit of our audience, let us know who you are and your association with the product.
I'm Jamie Noel. I'm the director, producer, editor, and cameraman.
I'm Elinah, and I play the character of Esme.
I'm Johnny, and I play the character of Bill, and I'm a producer on it as well.
There's so many films that are out there that touch on this sort of subject, but they don't really look at the other side. It's, how can I put it? It's a character who generally has very little of anything going for him, normally doesn't have any family support, doesn't, really care about people. Where on earth did this come from?
Well, I mean, it's been coming a long while. The germ of the idea was that I wanted to do a poetic gangster film originally, and I imagined a group of young criminal types committing some act of violence and then spending the rest of the film meditating on it, really, and so we could explore what guilt means, what people coping with violence looks like, and then slowly it sort of evolved, and as soon as it became, or the idea for it to be about family, then everything just clicked into place, because then it just started writing itself, because then the stakes are so much higher. Familial ties obviously always create drama, and then just the process of getting it made has been so long, which is why we kind of ended up making it for so little, just out of that frustration of trying to get funding and there being very little avenue for funding in this country, except Film London, BFI, Creative England, which is all the same body really. It's all National Lottery, so it's the same types of judges and the same types of categories and I suppose formula that they want you to fit into. Does that answer the question?
Yeah. I know this is always a really controversial question to ask anyone that makes film. Can you tell us what the budget was?
Yeah, it was £15,000. I made a film actually with Johnny a couple of years ago, a short film called His Wake. That was through BFI and got to London Film Festival. And just being part of that circuit, you go on a lot of talks and you meet a lot of filmmakers. And there was quite a few talks about people making the transition from short films to features, and it seemed to be the same story. It took us 5 years. They all look like gelded horses. They all look like they've been defeated. Like they've been, the idea was giant. They jumped through the hoops for this £150,000, which is nothing, just to end up the same, under the same sort of restraints that anybody making a £4 million film might be under. So in the end, I thought, well, what's the difference if I make something for 15,000 or as little as I can? At least I can make that. At least I know I can make that after maybe a year. So I sort of reverse engineered the script, worked out the logistics, knew that I could shoot with a documentary style crew because I've shot documentaries and tried to always make them look cinematic. And yeah, that was basically the how we got on this crazy merry-go-round. And then you're lucky enough to get really quality actors. There was a casting director that we had, Sue Pollard, who did great work, and we got some amazing game actors that just understood what we were trying to do, and just brought it every day. So some of them are here.
How did you two guys exactly come to the project?
Go on.
So I worked with Jamie before on a short movie called His Wake, and from the inception of, prior to that, from the inception of Lilo, I was involved with it from the very beginning and through its various ruminations and script developments. So we did His Wake from the London Calling slate, and then thankfully it got selected. There's 21 slates, 9 get selected for the BFI Film Festival. So off the back of that, we kind of went, it would be a really, really good time to just push forward with the Lilo script there, because we just come out of the BFI Film Festival. So it was another looking at the script again and streamlining it and trying to raise the money, the 15k that we eventually got together to make it. So that's my working relationship with Jamie, beyond being a very good mate now.
Drinking buddy.
Yeah.
Somebody who you could say you could lean on.
Yeah.
I was working on a film with a good friend of mine called Taz Skyler. It was a short film called Multifacial, and Jamie was. Did you have the camera? And did you direct? And you directed me in my scene. And what about the?
Well, Taz was acting in it, so I was helping out.
Yeah.
But I was filming it basically.
Yeah, and that was the first time that he met me, the Mad Hatter. I was like, oh my god, you do film. I was like, I'm an actress. And then, I got, Taz actually, my friend told me, he was like, oh, Jamie's writing a film, he's written it, and he's looking to cast Esme. And then I was like, oh my god, yeah, put me in touch. And then went for the audition, and it was great.
It was a very emotional audition.
Oh yeah.
It was kind of like an exposed nerve at points. It was really emotional, and I was kind of sat in that position where you're like, okay, so she can definitely do that, and she's brilliant, but is this gonna be crazy like for the first 10 days? And it was.
Yeah, it was great.
In the best possible way. Like you know, like it's just some really good young talent on the film, I think, and it's just very lucky, I think, to find that.
Yeah, thanks.
That was all a compliment.
No, I know, I'm being serious.
So, being as you are working with the Mad Hatter, how difficult is it for you to go from, I think we've got a pretty good judge of your character here now and from outside earlier. How difficult is it for you to switch from this fun to, these pretty hard-hitting scenes?
Yeah, I think at times it did pose a bit of a challenge, just because it would have to be quite, the scene where I'm with Harnell and he tells me that he killed the boy. That was quite, it wasn't difficult, but it was challenging in the sense that it was very quick. It was very, you had to really be in that moment and not let any sort of distractions from anything or anywhere, and really I think it's just the thing of listening. I think that's what people often forget when acting. As long as you listen, then you'll be able to react. So in a sense, I can kind of subdue my, and kind of get on with it. But there were days where it was harder than others, but I think that's just natural. I think that just comes with the job. Yeah. But all the actors that we worked with, it was never difficult to get anything off of them. It was always so easy, and it was always flowing, and it was just a pleasure to work with everyone. And this is my first feature, so that was honestly a blessing, because going into it I was really, really nervous, and everyone that I worked with was just so lovely and so just willing to give you things and try new, especially my mother, played by Deborah. She was lovely. That scene where we were classic mother and daughter relationship, that was I think that was one of my favourite scenes, I think. Yeah, so that was lovely.
It's quite nice as well, isn't it, to work in a small team. You get to judge each other, and it's less difficult, isn't it, to sort of kind of pick up on people's performance if anything, doesn't quite fit your agenda.
Well, in France, we were living together. These guys were living in an Airbnb down the road, and the crew were living actually in the location. And so, every day Johnny became our resident chef, although other chefs were involved, but we'd have a rota and everybody chipped in, and we spent our time together and our days off. We went into Faience and mulled around. So yeah, I think you had that kind of theatre troupe style camaraderie, and that stops people from. I mean, did anyone fall out? Was there any falling out?
I don't think there was any.
No, I don't.
Well,
I fell out
hated all of you.
That's all.
No, I don't think there was.
No, there wasn't.
There was probably maybe a bit of. I think there was one point where I really wanted to make carbonara one night, and I was like, I'm going to make the carbonara because everyone was he'd done all the cooking, and I was like, and then I was like, I want to show that I can cook, and it was really good, but it was really messy. So.
How easy was it to actually get to shoot in France?
Well,
or how hard was
We
it?
have a wonderful story about it.
Well, it was essentially a guy that I was chasing for investment, because even 15k needs investors, in the end, a young guy called Richard Crawford, he couldn't invest, but he said, I know a place in France that you can use. So I sort of. It wasn't really, originally it was supposed to be set on the coast in England during the winter. It's still winter obviously, but in south of France it's a very different winter. But tonally it was very different, but then I did the maths and worked out that it cost cheaper to get everybody out by playing out there. And it just worked out, and in the end, it's one of those happy accidents where everybody that's been reviewing the film so far have mentioned that the location really helps with the production values and just offering something, an actual escape from that English setting. So yeah.
It's, I described it when I was trying to explain to someone else. It's at parts it's like a music video that has morphed into a film.
Right.
That whole end sequence, that last sort of 10 minutes, so beautifully put together. How long did it take to film all of that?
That particular scene,
Yeah.
that was one afternoon. I think I had to do it in about 2 hours.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
We had a 2-hour window to land it because of the light.
Yeah.
There was only one scene that we shot for more than an afternoon. Everything was, because it was a 13-day shoot. It was half a day for this scene, half a day for that scene, maybe even a quarter a day for a scene. And so again, the actors were just so on it. We still, even though it was a short period of time to shoot the full scene, I think we still did a lot of takes within those short periods compared to if you had a traditional setup with 25 deep crew and lighting and Ari, Alexa, whatever, but the time between takes, or just getting your makeup done, or a little bit of set changed. It's just because you've got the one camera and you're on the gimbal and it's natural lighting, you can just move really, really quickly. So that's how we made up for it. But yeah, I mean, most of the time we were fighting light. We were shooting at a nice light, so we had like an hour window, 2 hour window.
It's, as I say, it's a really, really good achievement. It's a fantastic looking film. It blew my mind, and bearing in mind when I saw it on a small screen. So today's the first time I've been able to see it on a big screen, and it looks fantastic.
It's incredible.
Yeah.
What's the plans with the film now?
So there's going to be online releases over the next, I think, 6 months. We've got a distribution partner in the States that are taking us to AFM in November, and hopefully Cannes next year. We didn't quite make it this year, and yeah, just trying to get as much publicity. It's kind of a hybrid model, rather than trying to build up an audience and then release it. We're just kind of releasing it and then slowly trying to build up the audience, and one word of mouth. And obviously festivals like this help a lot. So yeah, it's just going to be a long slog really, trying to get as many people to see it and review it, and yeah, see where we end up.
All of it. This is the first time that
this is the first time that all of us have seen it on the big screen as well.
Yeah.
So
That's good.
very pleasantly surprised.
Really, really, really well done. All of you, you know, from the performances to the story to the shooting, it is just great. So you two guys, what's next for you?
So I finished a short horror called Black Mass, and then I wrapped on a horror anthology called Death December, which is the first time a advent calendar of short horror films has ever been done. That was through a German company, so that's going to go out on its maiden festival voyage towards the end of the year, as is Black Mass, as well at separate festivals.
So I'm currently working on a theatre production called Dokanu, and that's going to be in July for 2 nights. And then, I don't know, am I allowed to say if I have other jobs in other films? I never know. Am I allowed to say?
That's up to them.
Yeah, see, I don't know if I'm allowed to say, but I have 2 other jobs lined up for great films. And
Obviously not as great.
oh yeah, oh, you're the best ever. But yeah, so I don't know. I don't want to copy it. I don't know. But then, yeah, I've got things.
Well, listen, guys, well done all of you, and we wish you all the very best with this. It's a really, really good piece of work, and we were honoured that we provided you with a venue to see it all together.
Thank you so much.
For the first time.
Yeah.
So thank you ever
Thank
so
you.
much.
Thank
Well
you.
done.
Cheers.
Thank you.